Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to introduce a few things before we dig into the offensive install. First is going to be the defensive line technique numbers. This is what you're going to teach your linemen how the defensive linemen are aligned to them. This is so y'all have effective communication with each other, specifically when it comes to making adjustments. So first thing is anything head up on a lineman is going to be an even number. So anything head up on the center is a 0, head up on the guard is a 2, head up on this tackle is a 4, and anything head up on the tight end is a 6. Now anything outside shade of your offensive lineman is going to be an odd number. So outside shade of the center is a 1, outside shade of the guard is a 3, outside shade of this tackle is a 5, and outside shade of that tight end is a 9. Now inside is a little bit different just because of what's aligned on the tight end. A 2i is inside shade of the guard. Inside shade of that tackle is a 4i. And then a 7 is inside shade of the tight end. This is just the way I learned it, and I just ended up sticking with it. So this is the system that I use. You're welcome to use a different way to identify the techniques of your defensive line, but you having the same system that you teach these guys right here is going to help you effectively communicate when it comes to blocking assignment and to identify, how they're aligned. So next, we're going to go over the run lane numbers. These are numbers we use to identify specifically when we're calling the offensive series. So anything to the right is even, anything to the left is odd. So here is actually a little dyslexia there. Anything pressing the center is going to be a 0 or 1. Now, for this gap is going to be a 2, okay, for that run lane. 4 for this run lane. 6, anything off the tackle, and an 8 for anything outside of the tight end. For here, we talked about odd numbers, so it's going to be 3, 5, 7, and anything outside. Didn't leave myself a lot of room there, but it's going to be a 9. So anything outside the tight end are going to be a 9 or an 8. So this would be like your wide zone, stretch outside the tackles, 6 and 7. 4 is a lot of times your counter. 2 we identify for our power, and then this would be our inside zone run with 1 and 0. Now when it comes to pass protection, we use letters to identify the gap assignments for your offensive line. Same thing. You always want to reiterate communication when it comes to your offensive lineman. So between the center and guard is A gap. Between the guard and tackle is B gap. C gap outside the tackle. And then D gap if you're running more of a pro set. So that tight end, most of the time, he's going to have D gap. Tackle C gap. Guards B gap, and C is A gap. If these guys were sliding this way, you have A gap, B gap, C gap, and D gap. It's the same thing. So, we haven't introduced pass pro, but say it's a 3-man slide and these guys are sliding. If I'm asking right tackle should be, I got C. Guard, I got B, C, A. These backside guys, they might be bobbed, right? There might be guys here that they're bobbed on. Bob just means big on big or solo and they're on them. But I wanted to communicate how these offensive gaps are identified for your offensive lineman when it comes to pass protection. Next thing I'll present is just a simple way you can use to call your double teams. There's a lot of different ways. This is kind of based on the run lanes because doubles are always pretty much going to be on run plays. So this is the one hole. We just say ace. So center and guard is ace. Same thing over here. There are some that have different words for the center, with double teaming on the right guard and double with the left guard, because he has to know if he's going right or left. I've never had an issue with ace, but you're welcome to kind of have something to differentiate the center. For the guard and tackle, we use deuce, which represents 2, all right? And then you got tray. So tray, 3. 1, 2, and then you got the 3 hole. Same thing over here, you got deuce and tray for the 3 hole. You can use different words. This is just something simple that you can use when you are coaching the offensive line. Some people use words that have the C and G in it. Some people use any words that have GT in it. And then here they might say eat and, something like that. But this is something that we use. So when I am going over the offensive install, specifically the run game, if you hear me say we're acing to, that play side backer, you'll know what I'm talking about. If we're deucing to the backside backer, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like I said, the beauty about this is you can make it whatever you want. You don't have to use this. I just want to present what we use for our double team calls. So hopefully you got something out of the video, especially if you're new to coaching. At least you kind of have a base system if you are in that first job. So if you like what you see, go ahead and like, subscribe. Thank y'all for watching.